Hello from the Travel Tracker. Today's video will give you instruction on how to set up the driver's trip ticket. So to begin, let's take a look at the trip ticket in the Travel Tracker. The trip ticket provides details about the trip for the driver. Many of these fields automatically populate with the information that is included in the request form and after the assignment is made. The first section here is the vehicle information. So you can see that the vehicle number and the vehicle location is provided, how many vehicles are scheduled for this particular trip. The type of trip is indicated. If it's a field trip, as in this example, we'll include the field trip event if those are a part of your system, and the grade level. If it is an athletic trip, the team or teams will be listed. The next section here provides the trip number. Notice that if the trip is a split trip, that is indicated, and which leg of the split trip is indicated. It could also indicate at this place if it is a drop-off only or pick-up only trip. If your district is using special indicators in the request form, the special indicators will be listed here. The next section is the date and time of the trip and the estimated hours of this particular trip. The next section is the driver. You see the driver's name and email address, phone number, all of those things will be included if that is provided in the driver table. If an assistant has been assigned to the trip, that information will be in this section as well. Next, we have the requester information and the teacher and emergency contact information if those are provided in the request form. Next, we have the requesting location and that location's address, and then we also have the destination where they're going. Below that is the address of that destination. And then on this section here, we include stops on the way. If there were stops on the return, those would be included as well. And you would, your driver would be able to see the name of the place where they're going and that address. If your district is using the venue arrive and depart option, the venue arrive and depart times would be included here. Now this next section is a table that you can customize the labels on the columns and the labels on the rows. This table is used to provide a space for your drivers to provide their beginning and ending time, beginning and ending odometer readings, and any other information you may need to get from your drivers. We're going to look at where these changes are made and how you can customize this table after we finish reviewing the trip ticket. Let's look at a few other areas on the ticket here. Let me scroll down. Notice that the estimated miles is given. This is from the Google Maps interface in the request form. There is a place for your drivers to put in the actual passengers with the student and adult count, and then there is an estimated student and adult count, and that is from the request form. This section here is for special travel needs that have been indicated in the request form. The first special trip special needs, this is from the check boxes that are available, and so those are set up in your special needs table and show up on the request form. Lift information, whether or not a lift has been requested, how many wheelchairs have been indicated, safety vests, fold down seats. The comments concerning special needs, this is where your requester can type in the comments box in the request form, and those comments will show up concerning special needs. The next section is provides information to your driver about the other drivers that are going on this trip, the other drivers and the other vehicles that are going on the trip. So this can be helpful information for drivers. This comment section is from the request form. At the top of the request form, these are the driver's comments for the driver. And so those will show up on the trip ticket here. We do provide space for post-trip comments that your drivers can write in this space or write on the back of the form and indicate that they've got notes on the back of the form. The bottom part of the trip ticket have three different sections on them. The first two sections here are just custom lists, and you can use these custom lists for anything that you might need. So these are just examples of how you might use the custom list. Then this line is the trip ticket message, and you can customize that message to say anything that you would like for it to say. The two signatures are going to be on the form. The first signature is not editable. The driver's signature, date and time, that will be on your trip ticket. However, the second signature, you can customize whose signature that is. So the where you see area supervisor here, you can make changes to that. There is an option of an addendum on the trip ticket. It can be a pre-trip inspection report. This is somewhat customizable, so I'll show you that information as well of how you can add on this addendum as a pre-trip inspection, and then what you can do to edit some of these items in the pre-trip inspection. And then there could also be an area for a signature if you'd like. So let's take a look now at the configuration tab. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the table here. How do you make changes to the labels on the rows and the columns? So from the configuration tab, you're going to select the option Other Setup Decisions. That's going to open up a list of topics. Click on Trip Ticket to expand that topic. And then you can see several options here. The options where you're going to make changes to the trip ticket labels is here. It's very self-explanatory. If you want to change the label on the first row, then you would simply click into this section here and make changes to that label. If you want to change the label on the second row, the third row, the fourth row, the fifth row, or the sixth row, this is where you would put the labels of the rows. And then the labels on the columns are here, and they can be anything that you would like for them to be, whatever makes sense for your district. Notice there's also a way that you can change the title of your trip ticket. So you can put maybe your school district and the word trip ticket perhaps, or driver's trip ticket. You can make that label change. Let's look at a few of the other options in the trip ticket topic here. The addendum is turned on or off using this toggle yes or no. So the addendum was the pre-trip inspection. It could also be emergency evacuation procedure. So you can choose what you want that addendum to be. Somewhat. It is somewhat editable. This is just for South Carolina, a permit number on the trip ticket. The next is to reverse the to and from destinations on the return leg if the trip ticket is a split trip. So if you want to have those reversed so that they're starting at the destination and coming back to the school, for example. The next one is to display the trip ticket buttons on the driver options. This is only a feature that would be available for the Elite version that has the driver tab, but if you wanted the trip ticket button to be available to your drivers and you are using the Elite version, you need to turn that on here. And also to display the driver information on the trip ticket. If you put no on this option, it will hide the driver's email, their ID, their phone number. Only their name would display if that's private information in your district. So you could turn this to no if you needed to protect the driver's email, ID, and phone number. Of course, as always, if you make any changes in the configuration, be sure you scroll to the bottom and click the Save button. Now the next area of the trip ticket that we're going to look at is at the bottom of the trip ticket, your custom list here, and then the signature information. So this is also done in the configuration tab. So let's take a look at that. In your configuration tab, choose the option Trip Ticket Message. The trip ticket message section will allow you to change the message on your trip ticket and the signature line, and also create those custom lists. This first box is for the message on the trip ticket. So this is what shows above the signature line. And you can put anything in here. Many districts will put in some information for the drivers of what do I do with this trip ticket? When do I need to turn it in? Where do I turn it in? To whom do I turn it in? Some will also put in their message some sort of an affirmation that they have completed a pre-trip inspection, or that they've done an evacuation drill, things like that. The signature line section here is for you to indicate whose signature is on the second line on the trip ticket. So you can put who needs to sign. Some districts will put that the requester needs to sign, maybe a supervisor. If there isn't any second person that signs the trip ticket in your district, very often we'll just put transportation signature, and then if they're turning it into transportation, nobody has to sign it, but it fills in the line. The area here at the bottom is where you will create your list, and so you can see there are two different lists. The first line of the list is the title line. It shows up in a bold print, and then you have 5 other lines underneath that that you can put basically anything you want to. Many districts will do an in case of emergency call list. So this can be used in a variety of ways, or you don't have to use it at all and the space will just be blank. Again, if you make any changes here, be sure you click the Save button. Now, the trip ticket addendum, if you have turned that on and you would like to make changes and create a pre-trip inspection or something, you can use the trip ticket addendum option. And so let's click on that, the trip ticket addendum. And here you can see you have some flexibility in what goes in the and how it's in what goes into each section, but not how it's formatted. There is some limitations. The formatting is set. So we have 3 lines at the top of the addendum, and this can be a title and maybe other information. There is a space here for instructions, and then there are 20 fields that can be completed for a pre-trip inspection or steps to take for a drill. It could be utilized in a variety of ways. At the bottom of the form we have 2 other sections. Think of them maybe as like paragraphs that can include information that needs to happen in addition to the list that you've provided here. And then at the bottom here, these can be signature lines or other fields, date fields, whatever you think you might need them for. So it's a lot of flexibility in customizing within the fields as they are set and as they are formatted. Again, if you make any changes, be sure you click the Save button. And so what we have learned is that you can make changes to the trip ticket for the driver. The first part of the trip ticket is not customizable. The areas of the trip ticket will fill in according to what is in the trip request form. The first customizable section is here where the drivers can provide information about time and odometer readings and any other information that you would need them to provide. The other customizable sections that we looked at were at the bottom of the trip ticket form. You have 2 lists that are customizable. You have a trip ticket message that shows up above the signature line, and then you have 2 signatures. Only the second signature is customizable. And finally, if you choose to include the trip ticket addendum, the pre-trip inspection or emergency evacuation procedures, you can use this form. The title and the instructions here are customizable. All of the 20 lines here are customizable. You can make those items anything you would like for them to be. And then my trip ticket does not include this, but we do have the areas at the bottom where you can put a couple of paragraphs in, giving more instruction, and then 2 lines for a signature. So I hope this is helpful and you have learned how to customize and work with your trip ticket. Thank you.